Are we live? Is the red light on? Is this thing recording? Okay, we are in there. Listen. Hey, okay, tell the people, hey, y'all.
Hey, family.
How y'all doing?
Can you see me?
What's up, sweeties?
Hope they can see me. Oh, I love that! Thank you!
You know?
Thank you! Yes!
Hey, my sweeties.
Come on,
Not to be confused
sweets.
With saweetie. It's not that. It's sweetie.
How do you spell that?
There's an A, a couple of E's.
Now we done gone to Sesame Street. Okay, so I know some of y'all are looking like, what is going on? We didn't get no announcement. It's okay because I didn't have one. We are live for a few reasons tonight, and we're going to talk about it. First off, happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
I feel like a lot is going on, and we are not living in the moment. And it is still Black History Month.
This moment is a little bit.
Okay, this moment's a little rough.
Moments is going on.
All the more reason why we're coming together right now. I want to put it out there because, we kind of had a vision to start a little earlier than we did tonight, and that's okay because it wasn't advertised. But I wanted to bring my panel together again because I just feel like there's a lot going on right now, and y'all need to come to the kitchen because we need to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So
Come on in the room.
I'm going to do this again for those that may not be familiar. If it's your first time tuning in, you late, but welcome.
Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
We thank you.
Better late than never.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Just go make sure you go watch the other one so you can
All
get
of
caught
There you
up.
go. Please look us up on YouTube.
Just right there.
Y'all on
Stay
it.
sweet. Hashtag stay sweet.
Y'all are on it.
Stay
It's
sweet,
okay.
stay sweet.
Yeah, y'all on it. I need it. I need all of
Stay
that.
sweet, yeah.
So I feel like there's an energy that's in the atmosphere today. I feel like it's just a lot of.
Like a good energy or like a.
Please explain.
I feel like the world is on edge.
Ooh, because they are.
That is true,
Terrified.
slightly, but
I mean,
we're here.
Man, climbing to the
we
world.
are.
We're here. So
Barely.
No, we definitely here. That's hard. Raya, don't kill people.
not barely.
Internet, we can't take anything serious from whatever happens when it comes to life and death. So
Okay, black people gonna make you laugh about it. Yeah, we finna die, bro. Let's go ahead and
Let's die in style.
We're gonna find joy in this tragedy. Because we've inherently learned how to do that over time, right? We can always find joy in tragedy.
As black people.
As black people, we always
weeping
do.
may endure
Come on.
in the night,
Well, you know
but
what,
joy cometh in the morning.
y'all.
Y'all, oh my God, I know a little something. Yes, baby.
I was gonna take that a step further, and then I looked at my cup and I was like, all right, let me not try it.
Drinking water.
Okay, there you go. Okay, come on. It's all right.
You're only drinking water tonight?
Yes.
All right.
that ain't in my
It look like vodka to me.
Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, as I'm in my 30s,
That's okay. We all.
I'm starting to understand my body more and what affects me and how it affects me. Just like I have to take orange juice out of my diet because I feel like after I have orange juice, no matter where it comes from or an orange, I get this weird feeling in my mouth and I get a headache. So I'm like, it's the oranges and the orange juice. Liquor, apparently even after one drink, I have a headache. I don't know why. Can't explain it. Maybe it's because
bro.
I'm in my 30s now, but yeah.
Okay.
So why even risk it? Why give myself a headache when I don't want one?
Okay, so you're not a spring chicken anymore. That's okay. It's all right. But
It's okay, y'all. He
He's-
ain't got that snap.
I say that to say, you have lived your life.
Yes.
You have had your club
Yes.
nights. You have
I
been there,
drunk.
done that.
Okay, yes I have.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. I don't get headaches.
I will say this though, in my age, I'll just say that.
He's well seasoned. What I'm
I've
trying to say,
learned,
y'all.
I have learned that it's like 2 drinks, and then if it's 3, 4, 5 shots, it's very it is.
It's a lot
Especially when
going
you
on
wake up in the morning.
in the audience.
It's no joke.
Am I the only person that's not going through these? Because
That's how you feeling.
I mean, let me make it very. I don't have a drinking problem.
But when I do,
I drink,
Get
but
lit.
but I also. I mean, I'm not. I'll normally have like a cocktail or two. I'm heavy on mixed drinks. I don't really want shots. Give me a mixed drink and I can have 2 or 3 of those and I'm comfortable.
right. So I feel like now in our age, now we mature, we don't have a point to prove anybody. We don't need to be sloppy drunk
You right.
or effed up for the people
Okay.
that are in the audience. We don't need to do that. We've already done that. You know
Okay.
what I mean? A nice little vibe, good drink, a little buzz. We good to go for the night. You
It's
know
the
what I mean?
vibe.
We don't need
It's
too
always
much.
the vibe.
Okay, it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Yes.
It's a vibe.
But I do feel kind of bad, Ryan, though, that you don't.
Yeah.
You're not partaking.
Ryan said I'm good on the headaches
Okay,
tonight.
exactly.
That's all right. I feel like
brown is good, but if I do the white liquor, then yeah, I'm gonna be with the
I
men.
will say this: as I've gotten older, it is more so the browns than the white.
Yeah, it
like don't give me no vodka.
But
I agree.
but in that same
And
sense
vodka
though.
is what was my thing when I first started drinking.
But you know what's
Absolute-
weird? Mixing it don't mess with me
It was
at
tequila
all.
for me.
See, I can't even do tequila.
Jose Cuervo when I first
Oh
started.
God,
That's
no.
when
I
I
love tequila.
first
Oh, I
started.
will never have Jose Cuervo.
What?
Why?
Why y'all mad at Uncle Jose?
well, I'm not one to do. I'm not about labels when it comes to alcohol. If it's a decent alcohol, I'll drink it. But I did have an experience with Casamigos, and
Oh, no,
I
that
did
was
enjoy
great.
it. I
That was
honestly,
great.
I
No,
really,
that was
it was a great experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you a demon off the Casamigos?
Is that what they say?
Wait a minute, are we
That's what Nikki said. That's what Lil Baby said. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Are we getting paid off these endorsements?
We're not.
Oh.
I mean, you can send us a check if
That
you see
drink,
this.
that drink, that
Lil
that
Baby,
club,
support the LGBTQIA people.
The alphabet.
We drink
We'll
too.
take it.
Smirnoff does that. Absolute Vodka does that as well.
They do.
Yeah. Maybe it's time.
No. I mean, they have rainbows on everything else. in there.
Well,
Oh, well.
Speaking of appropriation,
all right. Well,
It
there it
is.
is, folks.
Listen.
So,
Ooh,
then
what
we're back.
what a segue. What a segue.
That's what we're doing.
Woo, what a segue.
They don't want to
Okay.
talk about the other extracurriculars though.
So
Shut up, ski slopes.
it
Go
is
ahead.
definitely Black History Month.
Okay.
And I do have a question, but I don't want to dive straight into it yet. I kind of want to feel it out a bit because, we do Black History Month every year. It's always February. And for whatever reason, and I can only speak for myself, but I feel like Black History Month this year has really just gotten lost in everything that's going on. Like, you get your one little commercial and you're like, oh yeah, it's Black History Month. But
You
it
get
just,
the section in Target.
yeah.
Well, they've been doing good.
Bed, Bath,
around with
and-
the black thing in Target. I will admit it.
They have, and I wasn't saying
No,
in a
I
direct-
know, I know what you
understand where you're
mean.
coming
Because
from.
not all companies have that same mindset. Yeah, and I'll leave that at that.
We can talk about the companies that got backlash for trying to appropriate in Black History Month when they've never done it before, and their customer base didn't care either way because they were still gonna buy the product.
Are we talking about? I'm gonna call it out.
BBW.
Yeah. Okay.
Who?
I remember.
Bath and Body Works?
I remember an article.
Oh, absolutely. So let me. So
He
let
woke.
me-
He woke.
Yeah. No, I know what y'all talking about. So let me talk about that.
You
So
walking the line.
I was upset. I'm not gonna lie. Let me tell you why I was upset. I was upset to see the same sense in dashiki clothing. That's what kind of threw me off. No, because I mean that's what it was though. Because
It
it was the
was.
exact same sense you always buy.
Baby,
But-
he's been bars.
But no, it was the same thing, and it kind of like it kind of threw me off because when I went into the store, I was with my boy. And we went to the store about stuff, and I'm like, oh shoot, I got this, and I think it's gonna be something different, and it's the same.
You start reading the
It's
labels.
mahogany
It's the
teakwood.
same mahogany teakwood and
Okay.
eucalyptus that you
Now
always buy.
I will say, in their defense, Mahogany Teakwood is one of my favorites, so thank you for
It
that.
is.
If you're gonna give us one, give us the best one.
Wait a minute, not the black ice.
That is the black ice for houses, ain't it though?
It is. And we got mahogany teakwood in our house.
I do.
high
I ain't
intensity.
gonna lie. Yeah, that's right. That's the only way to go. But my thing is that the only reason why I feel like the effort was distasteful is because there wasn't any like custom sense, to celebrate Black History Month. Again, you appropriated by throwing a dashiki on a candle container. So that's kind of like where I got it from. I get the effort. It just was a missed opportunity.
So
I feel
I
like.
hear what you're saying, and as I hear you, the only thing I see in my head is that photo that went live or viral of Congress when they were kneeling with the and it's just like
they had dashiki on. They had the
Kensington Claus.
Not Kensington Claus. That's not what you call it. It's the other thing. What's the design called? Help me, somebody. Come on, somebody.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I get.
please educate me.
It's just, it was
that cloth. Yeah, it's another word for it. Though, Frank.
That's the vision that I get, and it's good effort, bad execution.
Horrible execution.
Yeah, but also it's not needed. Like, it's a company that no matter what, if it was Black History Month, Juneteenth, St. Patrick's Day, you're gonna buy your wallflowers, you're gonna buy your candles, you're gonna buy your you don't go there to experience Black history.
Okay, so here would be my question to you, playing devil's advocate. If they had not done anything for Black History, how would we have felt?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I honestly I don't care. I don't expect
most
them
of the time it's
to,
for show.
and I don't care.
right? Because again, we all purchased Bath and Body Works. You know what I mean? And we've never had an issue buying it before.
Right.
It's just again, I didn't really feel like it was necessary. On the flip side, again, playing devil's advocate, I appreciate the effort, but again, the execution was poor.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what did you do with the candles? It has to be more than we're just gonna put Happy Black History Month on a candle, and that to be the end of it. Like
That's not celebrating.
That's not really celebrating, because what you're doing is that you're taking your brand and you're throwing a design on it, hoping it appeals to Black people, but you're not teaching the Black history of it. Like, where is the history of it? Where are the faces? You know what I mean? Celebrating the history of Black people. Like, where's that?
Fragrance.
Or an exclusive fragrance that you can only get in February, like something like that. But even with that, I feel like people would have got mad about it, because it would have been like, oh, this is y'all think Black people smell like. It could have went left, because we all know companies that have made that effort and they missed the target, and we revolt. And it could have ended very badly for Bath and Body Works in that aspect too.
But let me just,
Because what if they did come out with a scent that smelled like black ice?
the black people would have bought it, because I would have bought it, because I have black ice in my car. Shout out to Black Ice. No.
So your car smell like trap music. Okay, man, that's okay. Look, hit of weed, little black ice. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Not the hint of weed, but the black ice.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like y'all don't know.
There it is.
I would just say this though.
I would kind of say maybe it's a positive, because like Tyler did say, we all shop at Bath and Body Works, which aligns with what Derek said, where it was one of those thoughts of, oh crap, it's Black History Month. Well, wouldn't that serve its purpose to remind people to think, who go there every day, oh crap, it's Black History Month. Oh, maybe I might want to.
I just, like, I see both
Yeah, I
sides
see
of
both
it,
sides,
but
yeah.
I personally, because we're in an age where everything's marketable, of course, and we try to make everything about money. But at the same time, I do personally, I think I would have felt some type of way if Black History Month would have gone by and they didn't even acknowledge.
So I have a question.
But how many times before that has it?
I was going to say,
But
they literally have never done that before.
agreed. But times are different.
But it's not. But no. That is the definition of placating to people for the. So it's just like how companies do in June. Everything has a damn rainbow. Okay, great. Y'all love the gays. Y'all want our money. Cool. So
Where was your support? The
there's
other 11 months of the month, right?
Now, I will say this. Guess who did a great job advertising that they celebrate Black History Month all year long? Who? McDonald's. 365 Black.
Well,
With Allstate.
hold on. Hold on with that.
No. I'm just saying they marketed that properly. So they don't have to come out in February and say, we celebrate Black History Month. They tell us all year long in Allstate commercials and 365 commercials, hey, we
Yes.
celebrate and appreciate African American culture and the African Americans. Now, their workforce is all African American.
Predominantly. So is the clientele.
So is the clientele. But you don't see them putting kente cloths in the golden arches during February.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So like that's where
I
for
get-
me
I get
that's
it,
where
yeah.
the difference is. Like you have to know your audience and market it in a way that doesn't say we're trying to come like we're slapping kente cloth or
What?
tribal symbols on our regular sentence or our regular product.
Does any? So I agree. And before I go off on this small tangent that I have as far as concerning Black History Month, ironically enough, today on my YouTube feed, there was a interview with Morgan Freeman on 60 Minutes. And Morgan Freeman said he was interviewing and the guy asked him what he think about Black History Month. And he said there shouldn't be a Black History Month. Shouldn't be. Because Black History Month should be celebrated as American history anyway, because we are the reason why America is a thing to begin with. So it should be delegated as a month. So what I did is I did my research and I did find I got a little footnotes on my phone.
Come on, footnotes.
So
Y'all, he studied.
Y'all bear with me as I go down. So Carter Woodson graduated from Harvard with his PhD. Now he was the founder of Black History Week because it started out as a week back in 1962. It wasn't acknowledged by Congress until 1976 that it would actually be a full month. And a lot of people think that the reason why they gave us Black History Month in February is because it's the shortest month of the year, but you'll be wrong about that. Actually, it was celebrated because it coincided with the birthdays of George Washington and Frederick Douglass. That's why it was in February.
Speak that.
So it's not. I hear a lot of people saying that they gave us the shortest month because it only has 28 days on it, 29 if you talk leap year. But it's not. That's not the reason. You actually have to do your history on these things and understand that this is why the conception of Black History Month was such a big deal. But I also want to give y'all some timelines. This was back in 1926 when Black History Week was a thing. It didn't get passed to legislation and actually become a thing acknowledged by the government until 1976. You understand?
That's like 8 years after Martin Luther King's assassination.
There we go. You know what I mean? So it's like we really have to dive into. So the thing is, and the reason why I say that is because not to disregard anything we've said about companies and everything, but at the end of the day, it ain't these companies' responsibility to acknowledge us. It's not Bath and Body Works. It's not McDonald's responsibility to acknowledge our month as it is, and especially given all the painstaking issues that we've had over those times to even get to the point that it can even be a thing. You know, we shouldn't just depend on these companies, these big companies, because at the end of the day, I understand y'all want to be down for the cause, but at the end of the day, all of these people are out of one thing. It's all about money. It's always a numbers game.
I really don't.
It's always a numbers game.
I don't disagree with that. But I mean, taking Black history out of that equation, it doesn't matter what conversation you start. It's always going to go back to money.
Oh yeah. But given the current subject matter, it's it's Black History Month. I know we can go on about everything, but
Okay, so let me ask y'all this. Let me kind of flip it on its head. When companies do St. Patrick's Day or Cinco de Mayo or not 4th of July, not Labor Day.
Wow, because those are the white holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that.
So basically what I'm saying is for cultural appropriation
I don't see
holidays.
nobody doing that with Juneteenth.
Well, that's actually where I was gonna go. So how do you think people other than Black people would celebrate something like a Juneteenth? Would it be another cultural appropriation like in February where it's a whole bunch of kente cloth and like, you know how 4th of July is American flags and red, white, and blue, and Cinco de Mayo is sombreros,
which they shouldn't do,
and
tequila and Taco Tuesday. You know, like, how do you think that would kind of play out in the American landscape since Juneteenth is now becoming more of a holiday. I believe it's a federal holiday.
It is a federal holiday now, but
Right.
that was recent.
Like
It
last
became a
year.
federal holiday in our lifetime.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Like last year.
Yeah, exactly. In our lifetime, it should have been a thing because again, Juneteenth happened back when. You know what I'm saying? Bring out your history.
1865.
And bring out your history books, people. I mean,
67.
it's been a thing for a long time, but it's just now becoming a thing that, again, we can market, and get people to acknowledge.
And get money, make sales in the month of
Because-
June.
because-
and it's gonna be on Father's Day weekend.
I mean, we had a great
Every
cookout
7
last
years.
year.
See,
Because we'll cook out for anything. We'll
I
cook.
mean, we
Do y'all
did-
remember the
no,
party?
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
We
It was
were
fireworks.
all there,
We
were
were
we
all
not? Yes, we were.
They had a really good Juneteenth parade downtown
Things
Durham,
that
too.
have meaning take time
It's
to
a Black 4th of July.
come alive.
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah.
have meaning to the whole crowd because, all the things that we just that we just called out took time. They already was going on
That's
in
true.
the world leading up. And
Good
then
point.
It
It's
all
new.
depends on who's in charge.
Okay.
Because right. whoever the people is that run it, they got to be convinced. And most of the time, what convinces people?
money.
Money.
Exactly.
Always.
In
Always.
all
More
things.
specifically, profit.
Ooh,
That's the profit.
ooh.
You're right. It's not just about
Money, it's about the profit.
It's
Or you
always.
can convince them to change their police because of profit.
Because we also know that in the landscape of social media, because social media has now made the world accessible to anybody, we also know that if there's an issue between, especially a race issue, the first thing we do, we'll pull them up on LinkedIn. We'll pull up that.
the cancel culture.
We'll pull up that
Real
social
make
media,
things
and social
happen
media take care of the rest. Because we're gonna hurt their pockets. Hurting your pockets messes with your livelihood. Messes with
Yeah.
your livelihood makes you feel like how we feel when you get
Now
that
you
freedom
gonna change
taken
it up.
away.
Now-
Now you're gonna change it up.
I'm not gonna hold you. I have definitely keyboard thugged and LinkedIn and looked at. Oh, you work at so and so? I wonder if they know you have these views because I know corporate culture and they are all about looking like
Yep, that's right.
diversity and
That's right.
inclusion.
Yep.
Even in my full-time job, I literally have people who will email me, how do you feel about diversity and inclusion in this specific study? How is it going to be incorporated? What are we going to do to ensure that there's a diverse population? Like, it's a thing, and now it's like a thing,
okay.
right? It's, yeah.
So, sorry, like as I'm listening to you, you crossed like 3 or 4 different subjects, and I'm like, now I'm pinging like, oh, where do I want to start? And it's not to pick apart what you said. I agree with what you said. I think we have to acknowledge that though we have, I feel wrong saying it because just for where we are in this moment, it's wrong, but we have made progress, but I think most recently that progress has been stifled. Is that a good word?
Okay.
The momentum that we had is not where it was.
Well, interestingly enough, I feel like that, in so many instances, we've been as proud as we've been in a very long time.
Oh, we
I
have.
can honestly say that in my lifetime. I remember the riots that we had, for black people and police brutality and everything.
Wow.
If you really look at your history roots, we were quite literally part of a civil rights movement in so many ways. You throw a black and white
Yeah,
filter on them,
like
bitches, they look
literally.
just like it
That's
was
I just had that wow moment
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of like
we were marching
my,
downtown
you know what I'm saying?
Raleigh.
I'm
Y'all
thinking
remember
of
that a
my
couple years back? We
grandparents
was
and
doing that.
things
We
they
was
did,
there.
and I'm like, you said in our lifetime. I'm like, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we really did that.
And meant it.
Because you got to think about it as a child. I remember this distinctly back in the 90s. As a child,
on,
we
90s.
yeah, right. Back in the 90s, as a child, we was all children back then. But we always used to say this as we were kids. I couldn't live back in slave times. They couldn't have did that to me. Da.
Still say
We
that.
were so naive because we didn't realize that was still happening. We just didn't have the accessibility to see it like we do now. Because now everything is being recorded.
But wait a minute, it's still happening.
It's still happening, yes.
In 2024.
Two. Yeah.
Like,
and we only 2 months into this Joker. Like, it's still happening. So it's like, you kind of got to take yourself out of it for a second and just look at it, because we are living in history. Like, do you understand, in our lifetime, everybody that's 30 and above in this current conversation, like, we have survived, we have lived through a global pandemic. We have lived through racism. We are literally older than the internet. Like, we are older than the internet. We remember a time when we are old enough to know what life was like before phones and accurate. Like, we are literally right here. We are the reason that these are a thing. Like, we went through it all.
All the transition after 9.
Yeah.
Don't call me till after 9.
Come on now.
Because my parents,
What you
in my
mean?
minutes.
Okay.
T-Mobile, I had a fave 5. And upset if she got knocked out.
Baby.
Blackberry Pearl.
Come on, BlackBerry.
Yeah.
You thought you was a whole business on CEO with a BlackBerry.
You sit there and then let's not talk about the next day of church.
Come on to church.
I had a sidekick.
Before
That's right.
I was still on the landlines. I didn't get a cell phone till real late in high
Okay,
school.
I ain't get a cell phone till I bought it.
And we were three-way, and everybody's three-way on the house phone.
Let me
There's
tell
about 8 people on the
Let me tell you
line.
what I had. Let me take y'all back. Y'all remember them dang on Nokia phones that the size of the brick? Y'all remember them?
I seen them. I ain't have them.
Listen, them phones will survive a nuclear warfare. They was indestructible.
But speaking of nuclear warfare,
Come on, segue.
And there it went. Oh, that was in bad poor taste. I'm so sorry.
Really?
oh darn.
Real classic.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. Like, no, on a serious note.
Sorry,
No.
man, we ain't gonna
On a
talk
serious
food
note,
on
like
today.
prayers for the people of Ukraine.
Yes, absolutely.
We stand with you.
Yes.
But wait, hold on. When you say we stand with you, you mean
I mean, don't come in my country because I ain't asked you to come here. And I don't mean that from a people. I mean the invasion.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, all right, fine.
Melting pot. I don't care who moves to America. You're welcome here, but you're welcome here. Don't bring no guns and military and all that in here. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
but here's
Check yourself when you come
Okay. It's real.
It's a thing.
We're here.
Yeah,
And when I say we're here,
We are here.
like,
you're here.
hey,
And
Good morning.
also, I would really like to give a shout out to my brothers and sisters in arms, because I know how it may feel, because we're only a phone call away, and when we get that call and we got to go. And a lot of people don't think about it because it's not here yet. It's not going to be a thing.
It's
more
going to
likely
happen.
going to be a
It's gonna
thing.
be a thing.
Well, it's going to be a
because
thing.
Putin is not stopping.
He is a supervillain.
And
Like,
I'm
he
gonna
is
tell, I
not.
don't know if
Yeah.
y'all, did y'all see the viral TikTok person who
The girl.
who
Yes.
like, broke it
Yeah.
down?
Broke
What's
it
her
down.
name?
That's
Someone look that up.
We got to call her.
What's her
Get
name?
on the line.
But I know
Production,
she
get
was-
on the
she
line,
was
please.
on, I think she was on GMA or something.
She gonna be one of them.
Yeah.
But like when
She
I
broke
would-
it down
I don't-
so
I don't-
eloquently. Like,
right, I was gonna say I'm not as astute in geopolitical politics as I should be.
Her name is or at least her hashtag is I am legally hype.
Yeah.
So I
look
wanted
her
to
up. I
give
am
her some
legally
credit.
hype. Yes.
She really broke it down in a way that makes a lot of sense. And for someone like me who's super analytical,
It was.
I
I enjoyed it.
Okay,
Yes.
Yes. I have conversations with my friends, and I'm like, hey,
Now you know.
what exactly?
Me and you would do that all night.
I'm like, I'll call like, hey, explain this to me, tell me what's going on, and then I'll look and research and figure it out. But like the way she really broke it down, it makes a lot of sense. But if you know past history of the Soviet Union, you understand that the man that's in charge is just like a Joseph Stalin or a Lenin. Like, he is going to take what he feels is his, and he feels that the country of Ukraine is Russia. He already blew up the airport, the international airport.
Yep.
Then he took over Chernobyl. Now, if you don't know what Chernobyl is, that's where the nuclear bomb was dropped, and then that's where Ukraine housed their uranium to make nuclear weapons. So if he took that over, he's going in and taking the raw materials that's needed to build his nuclear arsenal. Like, he's not playing. And not only that, he has the backing of China, who owns the debt of America. And if you know anything about debt, like your mortgage company,
Yeah.
if they say
I know
you
about
got to
debt.
pay, they call your mortgage, that means you have to pay that.
That's right.
And I'm gonna tell you something else that a lot of people haven't thought about. The government, the federal government, backs mortgages and student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And if the debt of America gets called, that means that the debt that's owed to America gets called, which means that mortgages are going to be on the line, as well as people who have student loan balances, which is why the government can't cancel student loans. Which is like
Professor Frankie Shaw, everybody, please give it up for him, because
like,
he said
you can't like
he's spitting a hot 16 tonight.
that.
They're gonna save those profiles.
It's a cascading effect. So you can think, oh, it's over there, it's not gonna affect us.
No.
It literally takes one thing. If you remember from high school U.S. history, the reason the U.S. got into World War II was because the Japanese came over and bombed Pearl Harbor. It's just that simple. It takes one American to die, and we have to get in the war.
We have to go to war.
We have to.
We have to.
Because America don't play that.
And we don't.
We are a superpower. America is a superpower, and we have to
Hold on,
remain
we're
our
nuclear.
nuclear superpower. My
Superpower.
apologies. And we have to sustain ourselves as such, and that's why war is needed in that aspect. You did,
what's
you did
America's-
good at that, but we got to put that in
what's-
viral.
You know what?
America's-
It's
what's
funny that you
America's-
say that
what's
because
America's
if there is one thing that I have said, if it's one thing America will sell, it's war.
It's war.
We can sell war.
Because Lockheed Martin,
Come on,
Boeing,
Yep.
all the companies, like
Yep.
they sell war materials.
Yep.
So if Ukraine is gonna go to war with Russia, where are the Ukrainians gonna get the things to go to war against Russia? Mm-hmm. The United States and the UN.
There it is. No, you saw
Okay,
it.
we woke.
Spit
We
knowledge
awoke
to the
today.
children,
We
Dr.
are
Shaw.
woke today.
Today.
Like,
No, I am not mad at the conversation because at the end of the day, you're not only just educating me. I think you're educating others as
You're
well,
definitely
and that's
educating us all.
important.
And we
That's
appreciate
important.
you. Yes.
So, rant on. Come on, I'm here for it. No,
marijuana.
Let me tell you another.
And a good drink.
And another thing.
This is why.
So, I wanna keep it on theme for Black History Month. I don't mind that because again,
No, we needed that.
it's
It's current
still
events.
it's current events.
Yeah.
And it's gonna affect, like, if you really get into it, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's not gonna affect me, it's over there, and like that is really the wrong thing to think. If you follow,
Absolutely.
if you follow stock markets, if you follow any type of like
Well,
financial
we saw
world,
a piece of that today.
it's
Listen.
that's when it gets crazy, and when those people get scared,
It trickles down. But see, they're
Oh,
not
George.
they're not gonna realize. I'm gonna tell you what people gonna really start realizing when they see these gas prices go up. Because they are going to skyrocket
So he
Yes.
did.
over the next couple months.
Yes.
Well, he did speak on that somewhat today. I didn't have an opportunity. The president.
Joe Biden.
He did speak on that today. I was at work and they told us we couldn't watch CNN, and I was like, well, I'm watching anyway. So you know what I'm saying. But trying to watch pieces of it while I'm still working, and I did see, or I believe I saw at least a script where he said he was going to tap the reserve again. And I think there are some other things that are in place to try to make sure it does not get out of control. To be honest, the gas situation, I'm really not as concerned about. Gas is already high. If it gets higher, I can't come in today.
I remember.
Right.
It's going to be very much I can't come in today. I'm sorry.
But then what does that do to our economy
Well,
if,
honest-
if people can't go to
Okay,
work?
so
Because people are already struggling.
personally,
as it
I
is.
think, at least from the Russian, attack standpoint, I'm more concerned with like cyber attacks.
True.
Because once they turn the internet off, we're really gonna have a
Oh,
problem.
cyber. You have to understand.
No. I understand. I get cyber attacks. What I'm saying is, like, Russia is not. It's a power. It has nuclear capability, but they're not as advanced as us.
They turned the gas off earlier last year.
It is totally possible. I don't want you to be naive to the
Listen.
fact that these people ain't in caves.
And say we weren't lined up for 3 hours at a time trying to get gas.
And
But that was because there was a false narrative put out there about. Hold on. There was a false narrative put out there about the fact that like the pipeline did shut down, but it was like literally for 4 days, and then it was back up and running.
And it was enough to cause chaos
But
in
that was
4
because
days.
because people got scared and they weren't informed. This is a little bit different. We know this is coming. Like if you just listen,
So how do you prepare?
Get your
your
game.
work from home job and pray
Baby,
for
this
the
phone
best. I'm just kidding. That was the
Not I'm gonna be bartending from the house. Y'all can stop by. Desserts by Derek will still be open.
Okay,
They'll
listen.
be shipping.
As long as they don't shut the internet and UPS down, we good to go. Right?
Okay.
Amazon can still get their packages out, and the government and
Okay.
the post office will still be running.
FedEx, I might not have the gas to come to you, but y'all can still do these home pickups. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to them.
All right. So let me ask y'all a question. Because we're going to stay on this Black History Month theme, and I don't mind veering off. It's a part of it. I'm going to throw the question out there, and I want each of you to just kind of like take a minute to answer it.
Okay.
So, and Raya, I'm going to toss it to you first. Yeah, the pressure's on.
Come on, Professor Raya.
Professor Doctor.
So
Professor Doctor. Oh, no.
I'm going to ask you, what does Black history mean to you?
Okay. So, when I first got this prompt and what we were going to be talking about today, it was a little hard to really put into some kind of summation, you know, what Black History Month means to me. And so I really just thought that it would be best if I would spend this time to send a message, I guess,
Okay.
for our Black youth. And for parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, brothers, you know, love on these kids, you know, hug them, you know, tell them that you love them. Ask them how their day's going. There are kids who are going through a lot of trauma in school that parents don't really know about or know how to handle. So, you know, when your kids come home from school and they're quieter than usual or they're more upset than usual, you know, ask them questions, you know, comfort them, you know. Their life is hard for adults. You can only imagine how hard it could be for someone who has no control over what happens to them in their lives. And, you know, and oftentimes the trauma is at home. And so if you're an educator out there, you know, be as patient as you can be. You know, oftentimes from what my experience being a newer teacher, they take out a lot of that abuse on you and you're kind of like become a punching bag. So Black History Month, guys, I just really, really, really want to advocate for the youth out here. Love them, always send them positive messages, you know, tell them that they're amazing.
Okay.
I have a
All right.
question. Oh, I actually have two. One, do you think you see that more from African American children than you do from Caucasian children? And I'm not.
I would
Or
honestly
other.
say no.
Okay.
From my experience, my school is, I would say yes, it's 90% black and people and kids of color and 10% white. However, I would say that a lot of my issues, and I would also say in terms of how I feel about my experience, I would say 90% of the students are great students. They do their best, you know, and you know, there's that small 10% that's difficult, and it's a mixture of students, and they're not predominantly one race or the other. There's in that 10%, there are a few, you know, non-POCs and black people.
Because what you said was you wanted people to love on their kids and to hug them and all of that, and sometimes that's not as prevalent in African American communities as it is in Caucasian or other communities.
Which is why I definitely wanted to bring it up for Black History.
I was gonna say, does it kind of tie that back into?
Yes.
Well,
Yes, a lot of these young black boys and girls, they don't have the tools to really be able to express themselves emotionally, and so they're angry. They're not happy. They're hurt. You know, they're going through things at home, and then some of them have things going on at home and at school, and they have no real safe place. And so,
Okay.
But
Yeah,
but But I think that's important. I
So-
mean, just like the Whitney Houston song, "Children Are Our Future," right?
That's true.
They are the Black history.
So
right?
I'm gonna push that right to
Yeah,
you.
right. I believe children are the future.
Same question,
Yeah,
Tyler.
so just to kind of piggyback on him as a former educator myself, it is important that we embrace our youth because we had somebody to teach us. We had to learn. And however that avenue for us to learn our history, we had somebody to teach us that. For me, it was my grandmother. My grandmother was the smartest person I ever met in my life. My grandma literally had 5 degrees. She was a magistrate and a judge and so on and so forth. That was the smartest lady. Every question I asked my grandma, she was able to tell me. But my grandma also grew up at a time of oppression. She remembered when things were segregated. You know what I mean? She was there. She saw it. She's a native of Durham. She remembers when there was a white-only section, a white-only neighborhood that you didn't go to when you was people of color. You know what I mean? She knew James Shepherd, the one that founded Shepherd Middle School. They were friends, you know. So I think, again, kind of piggybacking on Riot, it's like our Black history has to start somewhere. And I feel like our Black history has to start with the education process. We have to educate people, just like my efficacious friend right here, Dr. Frankie Shaw, just went off on his tangent. But again, that's things that we didn't know. You know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, it's all about embracing who you are. Because Nina Simone actually famously said, what does freedom look like, right? And freedom, what she said, freedom looks like not living in fear. I don't think we should be afraid of our history. We should not be afraid to embrace our hair, our curls, the way we walk, the way we talk, because so many times that we have been scrutinized for the way we are as people, and we haven't been able to embrace that because it's not been beautiful. But now we are so powerful and so full of ourselves these days. Like in our lifetime, we ain't never seen Black people be so paraded like we are right now, and it be mainstream, like the whole world sees us for who we are and not who we've been. You know, so I really feel like Black history now is alive and strong, but we also have to be able to acknowledge that in ourselves and pass that along to everyone else. Just by the way you walk into a room, that's Black history. The knowledge that you have is Black history. The way you feel, look, smell, all Black history, because we all are a combination of the things we've seen, experienced, and the things we strive to be.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. Okay. Frankie, can you go behind that one?
Absolutely.
Hold on now.
For me, Black history is really like when I think about my grandfather, because he was a man of, and he was 92 years old when he passed, which was this last year. So he, was born in the 20s. So having been through segregation, Jim Crow, living in South Carolina in the 40s, in the 50s, as a Black man, coming through that, raising 6 children in the South, having 4 Black boys, ensuring that at least 3 of them made it into their 30s, because one of my uncles died in Vietnam because he got drafted as a young Black man, fighting a war that didn't really matter to us, honestly. Living through all of that and then passing that knowledge on to us in a way that was loving and understandable. I remember my mother telling me about a time where my mother grew up in Brevard, North Carolina, which is very rural, very mountains, very not diverse. And so growing up in that, having police officers come and telling them that they have to stop a birthday party because, not a real rhyme or reason. It's my grandfather's house. He bought and paid for it, paying the mortgage, all of that. And they just came by and was like, nah, you can't do it. But like having to live under that and then living through that to tell his grandchildren, like, y'all have it better. But then his grandchildren still having to live through George Floyd. So like,
So is it progression?
Have we progressed? Is there really progression in America when you say, like, if you look in the entertainment field, it's like, oh, all these African American shows and all these all these content creators are getting all these opportunities, but literally during the pandemic in 2020, we watched a black man die on TV. And not only did we watch him die, we then had to watch the trial of the man who killed him
Over and over and
over and over and over again.
Yep.
And yes, he got, a sentence and he's in jail. And the other lady in Minneapolis, she got.
Ford.
I wasn't gonna say her name.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not daft enough to not know her name. I just didn't want to say it.
Well,
She got 2 years, and they're going to jail. But is that really progress? Because then you see other videos of police officers in our community putting their knee on the neck of a 16-year-old to try to keep him in line. So have we really, like, in Black history, have we really progressed? To me, you shouldn't have to have a month to celebrate something that is ingrained in the fabric of America. The problem is there are people of Caucasian descent who don't want to pay for what their ancestors did. But Black people and African Americans always have to pay for what their ancestors had to go through. Pay for it in the fact I feel like I'm astute. I didn't even know Lake Norman was built over a Black city and dammed in. Like, I literally just found that out this year.
Also, Central Park was a Seneca village. Black people lived there. They wanted to make New York
147
look
in
more
Durham.
like Europe, and
Hey, Thai
Europe had a
heritage.
bunch of parks, and so they thought Central Park would be the best place to have it. If you dig up and excavate a lot of portions of Central Park, which is what they're doing now, there's still artifacts from families who live there.
yep,
But then that's like the most expensive place to stay in New York City.
it is.
So like
Gentrification all over again.
it's literally on the backs of people, of Black people.
Yes.
And like I feel like Black History Month is great. I feel like it's wonderful that America can say we have February to celebrate the accomplishments of African Americans within the country. But the contributions of those African Americans aren't felt throughout the country because there's no monetary backing behind it. Like, I can't tell you if the descendants of the guy who invented the traffic light are living like the Vanderbilts.
Garrett Morris, yeah.
Right, but I'm saying, like, we know the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers,
We do. That's right.
I mean, hell, we went to the damn Biltmore. Paid the Vanderbilt family $90 to look at what their ancestors built. Gorgeous house. I mean, I wanted to get married there at one point. But we spent all that money to go to literally pay their great-great-grandparents to see a house that we couldn't even see the slave quarters because they were so small, it wouldn't allow for COVID restrictions. So, like, what is that really?
But even the fact that it's still a thing, the slave quarters, that's like, that in itself.
I mean, but that's what it was. And that was in well, I'm sorry. Let me be very correct. They weren't slave quarters. They were the servants' quarters who were at the Biltmore. I just want to be clear because the Biltmore was built in the 20s, and we all know that American slavery ended in 1865 with the end of the Civil War.
Dress it up any way you like, okay?
In Black History Month.
It is
Q.
It is what it was.
We're going to you.
Okay. Well, Black History, the whole month setup is a little light and dark in my perspective, because I hate having to be reminded every year the dark side of us coming to where we are now. But with the good comes the bad. So we know there is a little bit of struggle before we get to our promised land.
Come on, promised
And
land.
so, I mean, it is great to know, and the fact that even in our nowadays, like, as we progress, we are, like you said, we're making history as we live on our day-to-day basis. And as things come to fruition within February, that marks another standpoint that Future will be able to look back on. I just wish, like you had stated, is exactly how I felt, how Morgan Freeman answered it, and it said, I wish we, didn't have to have a Black History Month. Like if we were necessarily left alone those years ago, and then, eventually made our way to this whole melting pot, how things would have come about with, Black people as a whole, rather than, let's talk about how we came to getting our own freedom when we already were free. So
Come on now.
that's literally how I feel about it. I'm not taking away from what we came from or my ancestors came from to get to this standpoint now. I just wish we didn't have to go through it, of course, with everybody else and the people that actually lived through it, go through it to get to where we are now. I do appreciate the fact that you can turn on the TV during the month, or even, outside of the month, we still get praise here and there from where we came from. But I just wish we didn't have to, I walk into, you can say, a white establishment, and I'm comfortable. Like, nothing really bothers me. It will bother you before it bothers me. And so the energy I give off, I can't.
That's part of the problem.
That I would say. Like, I've never experienced that, some people, they get on the elevator and then the lady holds a purse. I've never experienced that. If anything.
I haven't experienced that, but I've definitely experienced retail racism.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
And being someone who works and worked in retail, it doesn't.
You do certain things to make sure you're not looked at.
You're not looked at as the one.
Yeah.
But then working in retail, like now,
It's
very hard because I see the other side of it, and I have to check myself.
I want to touch on that because I work in retail as well, and there are certain things that I witness that I personally would not do going into a store. For example, an African American guy came in a few weeks ago, and he wasn't stealing, but he came in with his hoodie all the way up. We're wearing masks right now. It was pulled on. He had shades on. And even though he made a purchase just like anybody else in the store would, just the fact that he walked in and that was his appearance, it gives an implication. And I feel bad about that because I am African American, and I even look at it like, oh gosh, please don't. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But that's the problem.
But I'm not even gonna say that's a problem.
I feel bad.
Please.
Because honestly, I take it so personal every time it happens. And don't get me wrong, it's not just African Americans that do that. There are white people that do it too, and everything in between.
But you know as well as I do, it's always different when it's us. You be like, come on.
I
do try and get out of this.
Okay. I take it personal when it's us because I don't want that stigma when I go into a store. I check myself when I go into a store. I'm going to make sure my hands are in my pocket. If I'm touching something, I want it to be something that I'm genuinely interested in. I shouldn't have to do that.
You're right. That's the problem. Why should you have to do that if they don't?
For me personally, I think I'm always just trying to put Black people in such a positive light, and I just want to be an example that.
But you know what? That's
I want you to know white people don't do that.
I was gonna say that's honestly a Black people thing that we are ingrained in. Like, I distinctly remember my mother telling me, like, make sure your face is greased, make sure you don't look dirty, make sure that
of course.
Like you're clean, you don't look like you've been thrown away, you look like you have parents who love you.
Throw it away.
You look thrown away. And you can't give off that type of air because we're not and I hate to say this, but it's what was said. We're not those people. Like, we're not that.
Well, see,
and we were poor. Like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, but you never know it because poor or not. you stay came out the house looking at
No,
something.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
had a little-
Even with the less than, like Oshkosh Bagosh, bro, it was still like, you
And
know.
them little white shoes. with the
But,
bells
but,
on.
but what's interesting to your point about having to look a certain kind of way, I always think it's always interesting because
That's
I
trauma.
went to school in South Carolina. I experienced my first grain of racism in South Carolina.
Really?
Which was mind blowing to me. Which was mind blowing.
I'm
to me.
from South Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, which was mind blowing to me that the fact that my grandma is white, my daddy is mixed. You know what I'm saying? But you never know it looking at me, right? But I never, ever thought about it.
I want to see your ancestry DNA.
Nope, not at all.
You
We
can.
never thought it.
You can. That's fine.
Never.
That's fine.
But we don't know what he
And
was
you ask
mixed
my
with.
daddy, he's Irish. He's the reason why I have green eyes. And he
There it is.
dark as,
Right.
Well,
but he's also a liar. So.
So moving on.
Did we say we weren't calling people
Whoa.
out for that?
So moving on. But my point is
Everything
that
started
my
Oh, no, I didn't
my first encounter with the racist, I had a police officer come at me and try to hem me up on something I had nothing to do with, absolutely nothing to do with.
it's happened to you before, too.
And
Oh my God.
yeah, and it blew my mind like, oh
You're
crap,
cool.
like
Oh, crap, Adam.
immediately. First person I called, grandma. Like,
Okay,
I don't
Mom.
understand. And that was such a hard lesson for me to face at that time because at that point I was like, I'm packing a bag and I'm hopping on the train, I'm going home. Like, I don't belong here. And it ripped me to my core. So it's like the trauma doesn't go away because we constantly have to see it, which is why, listen, I support any kind of artistry, anything like that. But one thing I refuse to watch nowadays, I'm not watching a black trauma. Like, I went to the African American History Museum in DC for my birthday, right? Beautiful. If y'all haven't been, please go. It is beautiful. Like, wow, you start from the bottom, go to the top, literally, and at the bottom it's all slave and everything. And it was certain exhibits I did not want to see because I'm tired of seeing us in that light, bro, because it's so traumatic to see that. And I get it why they put it in the museum because you need to know, but at this time, I'm tired of that being the story. Like, I don't want to see another slave movie ever in my entire life because I don't want to be viewed in that light because that is a constant reminder. Yeah, it's going to sell good at the box office. But at the end of the day, that's a constant reminder of where we came from. And though we need to know that, we don't need to see it all the time.
Okay.
Because it's like,
But then is it okay? So let's talk numbers for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think African Americans make up what, like, don't quote me on this, 15-18% of the U.S. population.
13.
what?
Okay.
Is it that low?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sheesh.
Because you have to think about it. There was a systematic process by which black people were lynched and killed in the United States because they didn't want black people to procreate and to be fruitful and multiply. Now, when slavery was happening, they did because that was the workforce, right? Okay.
Here's the thing, but hold on, wait. On to that point, I honestly, in its entirety, I don't entirely believe that. Only because I know who controls the media and who controls these statistics as well. So I don't fully believe that black people are a minority. I think that's a term that they always use to keep us lower than. I don't feel like they outnumber us in this totality. In
Oh,
the,
they know.
In the
They-
United
yeah.
States, they
Yeah, they do.
not in the world.
But again, who is giving you the information though?
No,
Just
it's not,
saying.
it's not even about
Just
giving
even
the
just look at the
information.
states.
Okay.
I mean, we live in North Carolina, friend.
Let's look at the
So-
states.
Go to
There's a lot of states that are just predominantly
White.
Okay.
A
So
lot of states.
let me
You know, and
I know we're not gonna be able to cover this
Okay.
part of this segment, y'all.
Look,
we're
wait a
shifting.
minute. This will be on the
We're
act.
shifting. Okay, save some of this.
Act two.
All right, so
How is this one Arkansas?
let me ask y'all to do this.
Come on, production.
Let me ask y'all, and we'll wrap it up with this before we finish this up because we're approaching
Oh yeah, we're-
production.
Sorry,
Production's
y'all.
giving
We
me
over
the
our
notes.
time. Thank y'all for staying with
Okay.
us.
Okay.
And we hungry, and
And we are
I
hungry.
prepared because we're celebrating Black History Month. I prepared an old Southern meal for y'all
Come on,
today.
son.
You ain't got no fried chicken and watermelon for us, sir. Do you? No.
There you go.
I mean, I'll
Can
eat
we
the fried
progress?
Actually, guys, watermelon is a progression for black people. white people have made it so that we think negatively of the stereotype between watermelon and black people.
Well, honestly, we
in
don't be eating
fact,
that
when
much.
black people became free from slavery, they got really good at growing watermelon and became very rich selling watermelon. In fact, the white farmers who were trying to grow watermelon could not do it as successfully as the black farmers. And so they made it seem as though watermelon was something that was negative and gross. and
Because they
only
can't do it
associated
well.
With black people.
So
All right, wait a minute.
Drop mic.
All right.
No, I'm gonna take this, and then I'm gonna. I got a production.
I got you.
My dad, his birthday is tomorrow, which makes me think of this.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
Sold watermelon to get his first car, which was a VW Bug. I had to hear that story. Oh my God, 18,000 times. But to your point, I actually used to be ashamed to eat watermelon in front of my white coworkers because I felt like it was degrading to black people. So that tidbit actually really helped me. No,
So, as we wrap this up, I want to ask y'all one simple question.
Yes,
And we're going to pass it along. Okay. And we're going to go down. And I'm going to start once again with Raya. I want you to use one word to positively describe African Americans.
Resilient.
Resilient. I'm going to write that one down. Tyler.
Powerful.
Steadfast.
Progression.
Resilient. Powerful. Steadfast. And you said progression. I want to add a word to finish it off.
So,
Legacy.
I mean, we'll always have
That's a
one.
nice way to drop.
Because you know it don't crack.
Drinking water out of your business always help with that.
So
And less stress.
I'm choosing the word legacy because African Americans have contributed so much to America. And one thing, being African American, just like everyone else on this panel at this moment, what are you leaving behind? What do you want to be remembered for? What did you do to contribute and make your mark while you're here? Now, that's not a question that I want y'all to answer. That's an open-ended question. And I say all that to say that
Can I ask for the table though?
I say all
we
that-
showed up to the kitchen tonight. We showed up to the
good
kitchen.
point. So, okay, because this is history.
Shout out to the sweeties.
I want to make my mark. And
Make your mark, friend.
I'm gonna write legacy, and I'm gonna make it my legacy because Desserts by Derek is my legacy. And if I die tomorrow, I want one thing to be known: he did that.
He did.
So
And you know what else he did? He stayed sweet.
okay, hashtag stay sweet. So as y'all know, I change my boxes out all the time, and I like to keep it on different themes and stuff to keep people engaged. This was my current box, and it's going away. I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was
I
great.
remember when that one came in.
Yes.
This box is going away.
We gonna hold on to that. There might be a collector's item.
You know what? Ironically, I have some people that collect them. And I was very surprised to stop by a customer's house and see all of my boxes in their kitchen.
Come on, all of
And I was
them.
like, literally, I was like, what are you doing with these? And he was like, I keep them. I love them. And
That would've-
it really got my mind. It did. Like, literally, it really did. And it got my mind working. And I say all that to say I've done a new box. And I want to go ahead and put it out there. And
We're gonna debut it to the folks.
I am. And when it comes
Let me on the side of
to
that. All right.
legacy,
Hey,
I want
on
to
now.
y'all see it?
make that. Let me take a look. That is a legacy. I want it to be known that it's a black man on the box, and that black man is me.
It is you.
And I'm having a moment
Come on
because
now. Come on,
of
y'all
it.
give it up to
So
Derek. Come on, friend.
honestly,
Hey,
like
clap, boy.
that to me,
He was checking.
that to me,
Pre-production, post-production.
that to me is
Man, do
legacy.
his 2 jobs.
So that's what I want to leave behind. And anyone that orders a box going forward, get used to seeing that face because I'm tired of hiding it.
Come on.
And Hashtag
Out there.
stay sweet.
Stay sweet.
Stay sweet.
Once again, thank you guys so much for doing this. I know this was a little impromptu, so I thank you guys so much for bending your schedule to do this.
Regular night, you
It's
know we do this.
Thursday.
Right?
Okay, it's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
And
And
I can't feel my face.
it's the liquid marijuana. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy Black History Month.
Until next
Happy
time.
Black History Month.
We'll see y'all next time,
We'll see
sweeties.
y'all next time. We're not done.